with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me, I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili, from young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats, circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 101 Sports Show here on the Black Mountain Unfiltered Network. I am Mr. Bennett. Hopefully, I'll be joined by my partners. I think the coach is in the building tonight. Just make sure he's on stage. He's just in the back. But again, good to have you guys with us here on another Wednesday sports show. And certainly lots of topics to get into tonight. So again, just make sure as you come in tonight, make sure that you hit the like button. Certainly as you come in, certainly it supports the algorithm. And, certainly looking forward to an awesome show. Just waiting for Coach to go back before I get into the first subject. But I'll give it another second here, and then I'll kind of get into it. Coach will be up in 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm just going to get the show started and just talk about, some of the current events that are going on in sports right now. So one of the things that's really come up as of late. So again, there was a few days ago, there was a major ruling in college sports that basically nullifies the NCAA as a governing body of college athletics. Now, I think they still have the opportunity to sanction different events like March Madness or the Bowls or what have you. But as far as anything having to do with NIL, any oversight with the NIL, that has certainly been done away with. And, so certainly, this is going to, change the landscape in sports. And because of the complexity of the matter, I just wanted to kind of go over and just highlight some of the slides, some of the actions that have taken place, just giving a breakdown of the ruling. So these are sort of like the major bullet points. I'm not going to read everything line by line, but certainly these are the things that are coming to college athletics, in particular, certainly for college football and basketball, given those are major programs, and also the effects and impact they may have on smaller schools, and certainly the level of competition in the future. So again, so the first thing about this settlement, so this was House, and again, this wasn't the House of Representatives. There was actually a player named House, and I guess he had sued the NCAA, so they came to this settlement. So the first item in the settlement is, again, back pay for athletic students. So NCAA will pay $2.8 billion back to student athletes who competed in the NCAA from 2016 to 2025. This money will be spread out over 10 years. Another thing about this is that there's going to be revenue sharing. Okay, so again, over the next 10 years, this is going to allow schools. All right, so everything up to this point, we all know about boosters and we all know about NIL and these private entities, but they're allowing schools to pay money, and everyone has a cap. So again, starting at $20.5 million a year and rising each year with a cap. There's also new limits and rules regarding head counts. So again, in terms of how much of that money do you delegate to other programs at a particular school, that's really going to be dependent on, I guess, the athletic director and how they want to stage that. But certainly, it's going to limit the amount of available scholarships that's going to be available, or at least from that end. Now, again, NIL, from what I understand, is still going to exist. But as you can see here, its impacts on college football, said rosters will be capped to 105 spots, whereas before it was 130, including walk-ons. Men's basketball rosters will expand from 13 to 15. Women's soccer will be limited to 28, down 30 plus. So you have that as a factor. And also there's going to be an enforcement agency. So what's going to happen is, so the schools, they're going to be allowed to pay, again, that $20.5 million. But any NIL deals that are struck, they have to be approved. And the person who's going to be approving that is a person that, some folks may be familiar with, Brian Seeley. He's been, head of a lot of investigations within Major League Baseball. He's worked, I think, in Congress, certainly as a lawyer. So he's the head over this new body, this College Sports Commission. and they're supposed to be the police, and they're supposed to be determining, if deals are struck, are those deals fair, ensuring enforcement of those rules. So this is also something that's new. So again, the NCAA, which used to look over this stuff, that's going to be taken over by this new organization. I got this information from honestgame.com, where they have this information. Also, we talk about winners and losers. So again, like I said, for the big programs, the Power 5 conferences, basketball and football, certainly they're going to make out big here with this, because like I said, there's still going to be schools will pay top student athletes significant amount of money on top of NIL deals. All right. Also for collective bargaining. So again, these numbers are not set in concrete. Certainly there's going to be potential for future deals being struck in the future. And so that's also something to keep in mind. And then as far as losers, as I said earlier, so you're going to have a lot of these non-power 4. I said 5, but it's actually 4 schools. Keep the financial powerhouses like the Big Ten and SEC will become even harder. The new revenue sharing, these schools may not have enough to fund their teams at the same level as the larger schools. And then again, as far as non-revenue generating sports, so again, tennis, swimming, track and field, those type of sports are also going to be affected, because again, you're not going to have as much money to give to them. Certainly where the money makers are is where a lot of that money, that $20.5 million is going to go to those revenue generators for these schools. So again, definitely going to be very different, and we're just going to have to see how this all plays out over the next few years. A couple other things here, so some dates that are coming up in terms of, when the case was settled, and then especially for those students from 2016 to 2025, if you think you have a claim, there's deadlines that you have to certainly meet in order to file a claim. And then schools are also going to have to, again, with this new alignment of rosters and roster spots and the cutting of rosters, there's an academic calendar here where, things have to be done by certain dates. Now, again, regarding just this timeline, just to kind of give us an overview of what has happened. So this started, back in certainly 2018 with O'Bannon versus NCAA. So again, the outcome of that was, again, athletes having access to their own NIL. Then in 2020, there was a We Are Power movement that gave more rights. And you just see this succession, Alston versus NCAA, Supreme Court ruled 9-0, supporting compensation of students. And then you certainly, like I said, ending with the House case, as I said earlier, that, this is going to, this is created this new landscape. And what's also going to happen is, this is also not going to limit people regarding, access to this. So like we got a new panelist today, 100 watts to fly. Good evening, sir. Good to have you on with us. I think first time going to start with you in sports conflict. Certainly welcome to the show. As we wait for the other gentleman to join us. And, so I'm just kind of covering the first block here with this NCAA ruling, and then we'll talk about it in earnest. Just want a couple more slides I just want to get through here. Again, this is where you go again. So for players who are looking for information on, especially when it comes to how do you make your claim, this website here for the college athletic commission. This has a lot of questions like Q&A and what you need to do, the process that you need to follow in order to get access to that money. And then, I'll just jump there. So that's kind of where we are with this. So long story short, there's going to be new compensation. Schools are going to be able to pay players directly from the school. NIL is still going to be there. There's going to be a commission that looks over those NIL deals. And if there's any kind of disputes, there's going to be an arbitration process where students can certainly go and have their heard. But it's going to be this commission that's going to dictate what's fair and what's not. So again, it still doesn't prevent students from suing. If you think you're a high enough player based on your social media, whatever you think your value to the school is, and if they say, well, no, you're only worth this, you could certainly, certainly you may be able to sue for more. So again, a new day in sports. NCAA, they played with this for a long time and couldn't get their act together. So through legal action, we have this new process. So I'll just open it up to the panel. just based on what I just shared here, what do you think is going to be the impact of this on college sports overall? And is this a fairer deal than what the what the players had before? And again, what you think the impact is going to be on, again, the smaller schools, any non-Power 4, Power 5 schools? What do you think that is? So I'll start with the coach, and then bring in 100 watts, and you can certainly share your 2 cents. Go ahead, Coach.
No, man, I want to welcome. Thanks, 100 Watts, stopping by. I'll let 100 Watts go, then I'll go.
Go ahead.
I think that it is very funny how fast and efficiently they came up with the salary cap behind this lawsuit, even though players have been talking about doing something for decades now. Anything better than zero is in the favor of the players, but they're still going to get screwed, right? Because as you see now with the new NCAA video game coming out, that's a whole nother revenue stream.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So in terms of how much money these schools are about to be making is going completely out the window. So right now, for the short term, it's cute, it's cool. Now players are, it's very enticing to now continue growing the recruitment rate of players, because I do know once that CTE thing was going on, recruitment for football was going down for a little while.
Right.
So now they figured out a way to be able to get these young, ignorant black brothers right back onto the field, fucking their brain up. So it's cute. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to look like soon.
Gotcha. Coach?
What's up, man? Interesting perspective. You know what I'm saying? I'm an athlete, and then as an athlete, we like to run people over. It's just the way we do it. But I like this ruling. I think it's going to be a lot more programs, as you mentioned, who are going to get a part of it. The cap, that's just like you at a school. You know, every school has the same dollar amount. You a top player, Mr. Billy. You can say you're going to transfer, but you are still going to be allotted whatever the maximum is for that sport. That's it. You ain't going to, everybody going to start staying put. The transfer portal is going to slow down. It's going to slow down because it's going to cap. Why I need to transfer? I'm starting here. I'm making the max I can get as if I went to Alabama, LSU, Kentucky. So I'm going to get my degree. Unless you get your degree before you transfer, then you can get up. But still, the COVID college requirements are starting to fade out. That's all these athletes getting these 5 and 6 years because it benefited the athlete. You can stay in, get your degree, get your master's, and still make $10 million. That's a win. I would support more students, young black people, start playing sports. Golf. Matter of fact, you can get an NIL deal playing an instrument too. It ain't just the sport. It's to the high performance of that, I guess, subject matter or, major. There's scholarship. It's money. It's easy money, especially for the smart kids, even if you don't play sports. And the cap is just going to be, because the NCAA is still going to make money, but you couldn't hold. But where players can also benefit outside the school, they can now market their brand to companies. See, the NCAA, I don't feel. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do you feel like the transfer portal is more of the top 1% of players, or more of the middle of the pack? I'm not getting much play time. Like who do you think?
No. 70%, 100% of the players are eligible to transfer, right? Mm-hmm. Every player that come to a school on a scholarship, they can transfer at any time. But however, as you start getting up into your later years in college, after so many credits, some credits don't transfer to the next college. So if you transfer and you ain't subject to go number top 10 in the NBA draft, stay your ass where you are. Work out doing the stuff. Stop going home with the friends. Work out. Build yourself up. When everybody come back, you'll win. But I like the NIL, but the money is too low. I think it should be about 50 million cap. And the athletic directors are going to do what they all do.
Hang on. When you say NIL, you mean NIL or this new deal?
What the new deal?
That's it. That's separate. So it's like I said, NIL is going to still be what it
NIL
is.
is going to your brain.
The 20 million, the 20.5, that's the schools paying the players directly.
Right, from the school, but it's going to all programs. It's just not going to go to the football players, because no matter what school you transfer to,
they'll probably go to the football players, because they're going to segment it to the
but that's
sports,
what I'm saying, because
the making sports.
No, it's changing because every school has the same amount of money. Shawnee's a starter at that school. You play the same position. Why transfer? Because you only go get what we have available, because players from other sports are going to get even if a player get $10,000 cash a semester or a year, he's balling.
But just to clarify, Coach, I'm not talking about from school to school for football. I'm talking about that $20 million
is going to be spread out the players.
The whole program. Yeah. So in other words, the golf team is probably, you might have had 2 or 3 golf athletes.
No,
it's less likely Bennett, those guys are going to get any money.
It's not. It has nothing.
Go to the football
but what I'm saying, it has nothing to do with the scholarship money. The school is paying for the scholarship of a student. So 100 Watts, he's an A student. He's bringing in A's. He's bringing prestige to the school. So now they're going to pay for his school. The NIL is him participating in whatever programs where they're going to pay him from. A top golf player, say he's #1 in the country, he might get $200,000. It's going to spread out to players everywhere, even the big bench players.
Respect that. Okay. I still think with this, you talk about 3 different things. There's scholarship money.
Yes.
That the school will pay.
Yes.
There's NIL, which will still take place. And then there'll be the money paid directly from the schools to athletes. They're going to have $20.5 million to spread to every athlete in the school.
Yes.
So that money most likely is going to go to the programs that are revenue generating, like the football and the basketball.
Not now. Not now.
The
schools have more control of it now. So they're going to look at that. You know how some programs be struggling. All programs are going to be able to eat off of it. Now, it may be, I'll say 40%, 30% will go to football, basketball, however, but the money is going to be allocated sort of evenly in a sense. It's just not going to be, because baseball will get a lot of that. It's just not going to be football.
You know what?
If you're a top player, where do you transfer?
First of all, let's get Shawnee in. Let's get his 2 cents. Maybe I'm reading this wrong, because I know you had brought this subject up, so maybe you may have a better understanding of it. That specific school money, the 20.5, they're not under any obligation to divvy it up fairly or whatever. It's going to go to the programs. I could be wrong about that, but what's your take on it as we've highlighted the subject?
Yeah, from what I remember, that 20.5 million, right, that's going to each school, they don't have to give that to the students.
Correct.
They can keep that to themselves, but it'll give them we will be moving in the step closer of collegiate contracts with the players. So that could potentially be getting rid of the one and dones. Whatever the contracts say, buyout clauses and all that stuff. Then with NIL is basically boosters and people outside the university. It's not. I don't have to do nothing with this new settlement or whatever this ruling.
Hey, Shawnee, respect. Could you just turn up your volume just a little bit? You sound a little bit low. Can you turn that up a bit?
Can y'all hear me better now?
It's better now. Yes, it is. Go ahead.
But yeah, that I was saying that the money with the NIL, that's basically coming from outside the university per se, boosters and whatever deals or whatever the athletes are working on away from the university. And then this settlement money is basically straight to these universities who, again, they do not have to pay. They don't have to give these to the athletes, but you automatically figure they're going to give it to the athletes. I believe there's also revenue sharing that'll be, in play amongst the universities. Now, I think when I was coming in, y'all was debating about, I guess, what programs within the universities the money would be going to. You automatically know majority of it is because of football. That would be the majority, because a lot of these decisions that these universities are making now, athletic wise, is from their football programs. Why many of them are changing conferences, going to conference way on the other side of the country, mainly because of football. And the other smaller programs just have to follow suit, because a lot of times football subsidize those other programs. They get, support those other programs. So I don't know how it will be broken up amongst the programs at each respective university, but for the most part, it will be a step forward in the schools creating collegiate contracts with these players. So a lot of these one and dones, uh, the I don't think transfer portal was ever a bad thing, but it has turned to this complete madness. A lot of that could be potentially calmed down. Like I said, it's just based on what the contract that the player signed. So, and in today's time, a lot of these student athletes, man, they like to change their mind with the wind. They feel like they don't, if they're not getting whatever at this point of time, they'll change. They have no problem in that transfer portal, whatever. It's gonna be interesting to see once they sign these contracts, if they, potentially come down the pipe, how they will feel like, nah, man, you stuck with us for a couple of years, So it's a landscape change. I I gotta look at because I really have to look at, because that video I shared in the chat with Billis breaking it down, that was the easiest breakdown that I heard from. 'Cause a lot of that stuff look like, if you got to be, Billis has like a law background, so he can read that stuff and it's easy for him. But a lot of that stuff you got to really have an idea. Dante, whenever he gets down, he follows that more, especially when it comes to the whole cap situation and the payment with collegiate sports. He definitely follows that more, so he'll definitely have more to say about that. It was just the Billis breakdown. That video was more of like a, a poor man explanation that make it easy to understand what was going on, because it's a monumental thing that's happening with collegiate sports. So
Gotcha. Finance Visions, did you have a follow up? Before I got Shawnee in, if you wanted to follow up on that, you muted, sir.
You muted, brother. You muted.
well, he was.
Hey,
but
you
I
should be
saw-
okay
I
now.
saw-
Mic check. We're good. We're
There you
good.
go.
Yep,
You
you
good?
good now. You good now.
All right. I'm understanding some of what Coach was saying a second ago. Because with the 20.5 million, even if I get that 20.5 and I give 15 to the football team, that 1 million that the soccer team gets is probably 4 times the amount they've gotten. You know what I'm saying? So even though it's not being distributed evenly, there still is the potential for some of these smaller programs to start seeing money that they haven't seen in ever. And of course, some of the smaller schools would definitely have an opportunity to be able to see money that they probably have not seen in the history of their program. So I would personally definitely be interested in seeing how this works out for HBCUs. I want to see how this works for Jackson States, for Hampton Universities, for Morehouses. I want to see how this does for programs like that.
I can say as far as the HBCUs, it's gonna come down to how they are honest with the money, pay the kids, and like I say, the cap is sort of because the school part is taken care of. Now the NIL is going to be, that little money. You're going to see the chess teams competing to get the best chess player coming out of high school, because they do have tournaments. The best, I don't know, lacrosse player. So listen, getting $20,000 a semester after school is paid for, $50,000 a semester. That's life changing, man. If they'd have gave it to you, Brother Bennett and Gen X, man, man, we still be talking about we ain't giving it up. Everybody we know have been that, because it was a time where people was trying to get that movement, and this is a great time for young people, man. Get out there and get the moving. It'll change your life. But,
Indeed. Yep. Like I said, new day, but I'm just thinking about again the NCAA. They've been fumbling with this for a while, and it just seemed like the power got taken away from them. They could have took. You had that guy Emmert, Emmert. He was saying years ago, players will get paid over my dead body. Well, it seems like it's the NCAA that seemed to have died. Because because now it's like I said, they may still sanction the Final Four and the college football playoffs and things of that nature. They may still be involved on that, but anything regarding the money, they are out of the in terms of any kind of dictating how schools are going to operate. They had an opportunity to work with it, but it's like in a lot of these cases, you fumble it and you wait until legal action is taken, and now you're out in the cold. So so certainly the NCAA, I think they killed themselves. Certainly at the end of the day, with how they fumbled this. But again, hopefully this leads to better equity and certainly for these kids, and more opportunities for kids, as Coach was saying, for life-changing money. That'll certainly be a benefit for the rest of their lives. And I'm really glad that again players that going back pay the $2.8 billion that's going to be going to those guys from all the way back to 2016. So again, like I posted those links early, definitely showing. I don't know if you know people who played D1 ball back a few years ago. You might want to share that information with them where they can go and put a claim in, because it's like, I don't care if I was on the practice squad. I still want to see if I can get a little something from that. But we'll see how this all fleshes out. I don't think we'll have overnight change, but we'll see how this fleshes out in the near future. But certainly moving to the next block. Obviously, we're in the midst of certainly the NBA finals. But again, we talked about this last week with the Knicks. So again, they made this bold move. They fired Tom Thibodeau after he leaded the Knicks certainly to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they fired their coach, and they've been on the coaching search since then. So we share some of this next week, who potentially last week on who the potential candidates will be. Certainly, Jay Wright from Villanova, he's already turned them down. Dallas has already turned down the Knicks' offer to speak to Jason Kidd. In fact, he has a few teams that the Knicks have already reached out to talk to the coaches. So they reached out to certainly Jason Kidd, as I said, Chris Finch of the Timberwolves, Ime Udoka of the Rockets, and Quinn Snyder of the Atlanta Hawks. And you still have, again, guys that are still in play. You got Malone, who was fired from Denver recently. He's a championship winning coach. And obviously Mark Jackson, who, seems like I don't know if he has if he's been blackballed in the league. I don't know why this guy hasn't gotten a job in the league in the last 10 years. The man built that Warriors nucleus that won all those championships. I still think it's a good fit for New York. Certainly hometown St. John's, played for the Knicks and whatnot. And so I think he would be a good candidate for that job. I still hold out hope for that. But the Knicks, it seem like they're in trouble. I think this was a hasty move. I don't think you move on from your head coach unless you know for sure that you have that backup plan. And now you're also trying to draw guys like I hear KD, possibly getting him to New York, or possibly Giannis to New York. Well, they're not going to come if you don't have your coaching situation worked out. So the Knicks, I think they put themselves in a hole. I never would have made that move, at least not this quickly, until you have something in the fire. So again, we'll start with fitness, finesse visions. What's your thoughts on the Knicks situation? Who do you think the next head coach will be for the Knicks? And so your 2 cents on that. We'll just go down the line.
Number one, I think that what would have worked better for their situation is if they waited until after the draft to fire him. I think that would have worked better in this scenario in terms of just being able to go talk to players, see who, feel out who might have the potential of coming to New York. That would have worked better in their favor if they waited until after the draft for that. In terms of who they should hire, I really think I don't have a name, but I think that it has to be a name that's not on anyone's list. Because if you're just hiring a coach that just left another team that didn't accomplish shit either, then what are we doing here? You are just nicking your way right back to being the Knicks yet again. So it really needs to be somebody that's not on anybody's radar right now if they really want to make something happen. Because they have a decent team. You have to go unorthodox with your coaching in order to make this work. When you got a big man like Cat, you got to go unorthodox. That's just my thinking.
Well, just a question now, if they go after, because again, they traded a lot of draft capital. So again, will Cat even be with the team if they try to go after another big fish like Giannis or KD? Will Cat stay there, or are they locked in? Because they don't have draft assets at this point to really get to acquire one of those big names. So I would think one of those guys like a Cat. We've seen his defensive liabilities certainly in the playoffs. So again, he may not be a factor going forward either if they want to go after one of those big fish. So that's certainly something to consider. And then also, even if you go off of again picking a coach off the list, is that going to be attractive to these guys who you're trying to acquire? If that is in fact your plan to try to get to land one of those big players. So just want to throw that in. But Coach, your thoughts on the Knicks, where they are with it now. If I recall last week, I think you agreed with the firing. You were okay with the firing at that time. So again, given that they don't know at this point what the next move is, are you still comfortable with that? And then again, who for the Knicks, if certainly knowing the guys who have checked themselves off the list, who do you think can certainly fill that spot? Who do you think they'll go with?
I mean, I like this perspective on unorthodox. And when I look at the Knicks, right, they got a history of treating their players bad. That's what they got a history of. Players talk. Players ain't stupid. They talk. And the players that they get, they homegrown, But I can tell you this about the Knicks. They did have the wrong coach. Thibodeau's not the coach to motivate and lead. He's not that type of coach, but he has great defense. All of those players have to get in shape. Brunson's overweight. Cat need to pick up muscle. He slouches when he stands. He needs to pick up muscle. Adobe, what's his name? He's like a 3-4. Some days he's in, some days he's out. He need to continue to work on his game. I mean, as far as the coach, I wasn't impressed by that list outside of Mark Jackson. But again, it would be new in history if he got the position. And everybody knowing for the last 10 years what type of coach he is, which is crazy. So I can see him. Malone, he's a proven champion. Hurley, I think he likes the college game. He could come to New York, though, but I think he likes the college. I don't think they're going to even really give Brunson a true chance. But yeah, I believe that there's another coach out there. Yeah, but Thibodeau, they weren't going nowhere with him. But all those players got to get in shape because New York has a good team, but they have to get in better shape. They have to.
Gotcha. Shawnee?
My thing is, I always feel like if I kind of understood, like I said, mentioned last week, if you fire a coach, because I've seen like teams that were successful per se, but they fired a coach because they wanted to change a voice in the locker room, and you've seen that team go and have success. I believe last week we mentioned the example of Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where it was Tony Dungy, and when they let him go, and Gruden came, and he was able to lead them to over that hump. So you have seen examples across the four major sports where it was a successful team under one coach, but they seemed to be hitting a wall, and then they made a change. Some of the fan base may didn't like it or whatnot, but it paid off because you still had a good team. They just need a change of voice, a slight change of philosophy, and it proves on to be a good move. Now, and that's how I was looking at the Knicks situation. The only thing about the Knicks is basically the team that they have on the court right now is basically the team whoever the coach is going to come is going to have to coach because they sacrifice a lot of their future assets with the British trade. If they if they try to trade for these big name players, because they put their name in the hat for KD, if they make a big player change, you don't know what type of dent it's going to make that current roster. It may not even be the same team. So here, being in the DFW area, they was talking to Kid. And what's up, Finesse?
What makes KD valuable of a big haul?
Well, KD to me is like that closing piece, because you already know what KD is going to come buckets.
It's the worst.
I don't.
decision.
Well, look,
KD comes with the potential of an Achilles injury.
He come with the potential of being old. He's too old right now.
I gotta look at his number. He's still scoring like over 26, 27.
But look at his volume, though. His volume is high too.
Well, if you put him on because I don't think his value is supposed to be that high when he was with the Suns. That's why they made the move for Bill. It just did not work. You had Bill, Booker, and KD. That trio just did not work. I think if you
they gunners, all of them are gunners.
Well, if you put them on a team like that has like a more flow of offensively, I don't think KD will have to just do as much. But if a team like the Knicks the market for KD is the market. So the Suns know, hey, if there's some teams out there that are willing to give up some key pieces, then they gonna try their best to acquire those pieces. So if that ultimately means your team gonna have to have a significant dent in its roster because you want KD, now it's subjective how people may feel like if KD is worth this, KD is worth that. But there's obviously a market for KD, because right now it's already 5 teams looking and talking to the Suns.
Yeah.
And like a team like my Rockets, they look at KD, okay, you could be a potential final piece. We just need more scoring, especially how the way they, was bounced out in 7 versus the Warriors. They just didn't have that key scorer in closing moments. KD can fill that spot. So to the Rockets, they may look at KD as a higher value. Now, he may not be like that, because the Timberwolves was also one of the teams. He may be a big value with them, because you saw how that was OKC. Their offense was just struggling, especially once Edwards was not hitting the shots like normal. So it just depends on the team. If you look at KD and you value his scoring, they gonna give up something, and the Suns know that. So they could sit on there, and the price for him, trade value can go up. So, but with the Knicks, like going back when they was talking to Kid, I'm like, okay, why would Kid want to go to the Knicks? Because right now y'all don't really have a concrete future. Y'all just literally have the roster y'all have today. It's a good roster. You just don't know how long the Knicks keep them together. Meanwhile, the Mavericks have a good roster right now. You got AD coming back. Potentially later in the year, you're going to have a healthy Kyrie. And then you got the number 1 overall pick will be Cooper Flagg. So he's already in a better situation. So I'm like, okay, why would even, and they know the Mavericks.
He wasn't going to go anyway. He told the ownership, tell him I ain't going.
But that's what, and Mr. Bennett brought it up, like, why would you then fire a head coach who was having success in your program? I believe, Mr. Bennett, you had the graphic last week showing
they went for almost 20 years with just in that coaching. So you got the first coach came in, he was coach of the year his first year there. In the last 2 seasons, he got you over 50 wins. Now, again, I'm not saying he's a perfect coach by any means.
Exactly.
But again, I just don't think you make a move like this and don't have something already in the kitty in terms of what your next move is. And it seems like they haven't had a plan. I think it was done in haste, especially coming off of that. You fired a guy a couple of days after the get into the Eastern Conference Finals, where basically a bounce of a ball. You could have been talking a 7th game, certainly in MSG, from that game 1. So I just think that, I think it's a bit hapless. And again, especially if you're going to fire him, again, this GM's you traded all these assets for that one player for Bridges. And what has he done for you in that time? So if you want to clean house, I say clean house. But they got 1 pick next year in 26, and they don't get another one, I think, for the next 2 or 3 seasons in the first round. So
and
again,
that's my thing. And why their plan was to go poach another a coach from a team. So I'm like, and many of these coaches at these teams are in better situations. They a team may have not made it to play like the Hawks. I think they made the play in. But I gotta look at their contracts and their picks. They may have a better future outlet than the Knicks. So I'm like, why would these coaches who are currently coaching their respective team leave that team to go to yours? So if that was your plan, Knicks, just go poach a coach from another team, I'm like, that
Yeah,
don't make
but
no sense.
listen, players and coaches both talk. They all talk, right? So as a coach, right, I'm looking at Thibodeau as a peer. He's a good coach. He had a winning season. Hell, he knocked us out of he beat us every time, right? So to see that he had a winning season and he get fired 3 days later, then other coaches be like, man, I'm good. And that's what I'm saying. They got a bad habit of how they treat their players. And now we can see the coaches. You know what I'm saying? But to me, looking at the team, knowing that that's going to have to be what they are for the next foreseeable 3 to 5 years, a coach has to hold the players accountable. If they don't get in shape, they're going to have to get in better shape. Because they have a decent team. I would make sure Robinson work on his free throws. I would get another point guard, somebody that can dribble and pass. That's all they good need, really. And go big. I would just get, whatever picks we got, I go point guard and big. That's it. They need another 6'11", 7 foot, and they need somebody to relieve Brunson as the point. Because Hart is not a point, and the other guy, the little guy, he's a shooter. He's not a point either. They need somebody that can pass, somebody that can rebound, and they'll be good. Other than
Do the Knicks have like a ring of honor or statues or anything of that sort?
I haven't seen it or heard of it.
haven't won a championship since 1973. What happened in 1973? Watergate and the OPEC oil crisis. That's the time they've been relevant in the certainly in the NBA. But it's almost like they function like, I hate to pick on, they almost function like the Cowboys. They just think that, well, because we New York, everybody wants to come here because we New York. And with that guy Dolan, the way he treats, the way, as coach said, the way he's treated coaches, the way he's treated players, he's had ex-players escorted from the building.
Yeah.
Again, who wants to go into that quagmire over there?
At least Jerry can say, you ain't won me nothing, but I love what you did for my organization, and put your name on the wall.
Yeah.
You can't even Charles Oakley don't deserve to be on your wall somewhere, my G.
Charles Oakley he kicked Charles Oakley out of the building.
Stephon Marbury don't deserve to have his name on a wall somewhere in that building.
Really. No.
Come on. Now, like culturally, what
I go with Patrick Ewing and Clyde, the old school players. They was balling.
I think the latest player in the Knicks history to make that, if they whatever the Ring of Honor is Carmelo.
Yeah,
I think Bronson will be up there in the list. But I can't think of another marquee player that the Knicks have that you can, put up there.
I don't think Brunson will be around long enough for him to be able to get that.
No, he's gonna be there.
That may be true also, especially yeah. Now if they make his father the coach, he's a bench coach already. That may motivate him if his dad. It's happened before. We all know Doc Rivers had his son played for him. So
I saw a meme out there talking about the what's that? Milwaukee granted permission for the Knicks to interview Doc, but the Knicks declined. I was like, yeah.
Oh man,
it was this other way around. It's like, nah,
it's okay.
We good.
There you go. All right, let's move on to the next subjects. Obviously, the big news in the NFL. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers signs with the Steelers on Tuesday, and is attending the OTAs, mandatory OTAs. So he's in the building. So again, I guess I got as the resident Steelers fan on this panel. So I gotta live with it. But look, as soon as he signed the dotted line, I'm like, yo, let's go. So he's QB1
status,
and so just let him cook and see what we can do. with that. I know they're still in negotiations, still trying to get TJ Watt, who's still, he's holding out for his next contract. But look, they got weapons on offense and defense and whatnot. If he could be the guy, can make, Tomlin, it doesn't matter who you put in there, Duck Dodges or whoever you want. He's good for 9 to 10 wins a year. Can Aaron, the expectation for the Steelers now, can he at least get one playoff victory? We haven't had a playoff victory since 2016. We get to the playoffs and then we get taken out. So can he be a difference maker to get the Steelers to at least win a division, or possibly a deeper, not a deep, but a deeper playoff run than what we've had in a few years? What do you think the prospect is for Aaron Rodgers? I'm going to be the homer here, so again, I don't want to say too much. I will leave it to the objectivity of the rest of the panelists to speak on the Aaron Rodgers situation. And how do you think this will go this year for the Steelers with number 8 at the helm? So go ahead, Finesse Visions, your take, sir. I already see the expression on your face right now. I won't take it personally. Just go ahead.
In the time that I've watched this show, I think you and I are fans of similar teams. I'm a Steelers fan, and I'm also a Celtics fan. So,
sweet. There you go.
As a Steelers fan, this low-key turned my stomach. Him signing low-key turned my stomach. Because Aaron Rodgers comes... You know how Kanye said, "My presence is a present, so kiss my ass." Yeah. Aaron Rodgers operates that way, where he operates where you should be lucky I'm in your backfield, so be blessed that I'm here. We don't need that, especially after seeing that the offensive coordinator is saying that his focus is still running the ball. That is not gonna make that man happy. We just got rid of what's his name, Pickens, punk ass, for doing all that crying and stuff he be doing on the sideline. I don't want to see this coming from my quarterback now too. Like this, my skin crawls every time I see them go through this quarterback shit, because we should have drafted Lamar Jackson years ago.
Yes.
I don't
absolutely
understand. As a Steelers fan, personally, Aaron Rodgers, I think he is a better quarterback than we have had in a few years. But contract-wise, I am more focused. The last 4 quarterbacks I can think of, he was better than Russell, Justin, Pickett, all of those 3, at least he was better.
Trubisky. And then Ben Roethlisberger's last 2 years.
Come on, man.
But, history, but now.
As a Steelers fan, I'm more concerned about the TJ Watt contract than the Aaron Rodgers contract. So, because that defense, no matter who is your quarterback, the Steelers are a defensive team. The Steelers win championships based off of defense. So until we can lock that defense in, because that linebacking core is A1 right now. I just need to make sure we got TJ on that line and we can lock this defense in. Just don't fuck it up, Aaron. Just don't throw a bunch of interceptions like you did at the end of Green Bay, please. Well, before the MVP, excuse me. But we be out.
All right. Coach?
Man, I don't understand some owners, man. They make the game complicated for themselves. Aaron Rodgers is too old. He could have stayed out there. Okay, so with that, he's the only player in the NFL history that get to do what he do and act like he act. And don't nobody say nothing. The commentator, look at Aaron Rodgers. He's outside because they over smoking weed with him. But anyway, I think Pittsburgh messed up to me. I would have went young. And I would have at least drafted a quarterback. That's what I would have did. I'd have got a quarterback.
They drafted the issue is they drafted obviously they got Will Howard from Ohio State, national champion. The question is, should they have drafted Shador or some other QB? So again, Finesse, I didn't know you were a Steelers fan. So again, I can come back to you with that one. Let's get Sean. Coach finish your point. Finish your point. And I'll go to Sean. And I'll go back to Finesse on the Shador since I never heard his perspective.
I mean, I don't know what if we're talking about Pittsburgh specifically, you can see how some GMs make bad moves. Aaron Rodgers, he came. I don't see him really meshing with the team, but we'll see, man. It's going to be a long season. Shout out to the Steelers, who's probably one of the teams that can have a winning season with less than anybody in the league since Mike Tomlin been there. He ain't really had. He's one of the best coaches in the league because he's allowing his team to have success. And we see the scraps that they working with. They passed on. They need which is scary. And they're releasing players. They ain't even trying to secure, like you said, they number one dog on defense. That makes no sense. But again, Steelers, I can see y'all have an 8-8 season. We'll be talking about Tomlin, but it ain't him. It's the people who making the decision. So just saying.
I got you. Shawnee.
Well, one thing with the Steelers, man, it just shows. I believe Finesse went down a brief history of your quarterback history, but I mean, just the quarterback room, man, the lack of development for quarterbacks, the success, the mediocre to low success of recent quarterbacks. Mr. Bennett, I'll mention it before even Rodgers signed that I didn't like the way that the Steelers were literally just waiting on this man, literally through a whole entire draft. You just waiting on this dude. I'm like, and then you didn't pick up a quarterback in this past draft to the 6th round. Like, what are y'all? And that is the position of need on your franchise. Everybody keep talking about you got a good team, but the main reason why your team is not really advancing deeply in the playoffs or not is the quarterback position. For the most part, there was 2 quarterbacks. I know it was not a deep QB draft at all, but you had 2 quarterbacks who was looked at as first-round talent for, in particular, this draft. I can't speak on previous drafts or the next year's draft, but this draft, they was getting a first-round grade. And one got picked number 1, the other just dropped, and ultimately you had a chance on picking him. You still had a chance to pick him in the first round. Now, when they passed Sanders in the first round, okay. But you went on multiple rounds continuously passing Sanders and not addressing that QB situation. Because they were waiting on Rodgers. If you was going to sign Rodgers, you going to sign him to a 1-year deal anyway. That's perfectly fine. Draft Sanders, let him sit for a year. Perfect situation for him. Just let him be, let him learn. Go ahead and sign Rodgers, which you knew that was y'all plan on doing, and sign Sanders. Sanders will be picking his brain throughout the year. But no, you pass on Sanders and literally pass on all these other quarterbacks and didn't even address the position to the 6th round. So now you only sign Rodgers for 1 year. And unless Rodgers all of a sudden reverts back to MVP form, most likely you're going to change direction in quarterbacks next year. Now, I've been hearing that next year's quarterback class is supposed to be deeper than this year. But if we keep talking about how the Steelers and everybody likes to brag how Tomlin never had a losing season, well, you may not even be in a position to be drafting a quarterback that's going to be higher. Whatever position that'll be available, that I wouldn't put out there that the Steelers may get into the playoffs, especially since they kind of loan what is it now? The first 7 seeds? 7 or 6 seeds now? They keep extending it, so they may make it to the playoffs. Well, that means now you're gonna be in the 20s or lower drafting. So I believe if a quarterback is available that low, I believe Sanders probably would have had a better grade than they do, whoever you ultimately draft. So it's just the way they going about their quarterback room. And I just don't. I don't know. I mean, yeah, Tomlin gets all the praise for not having a losing season in 18 years, but I'm like, okay. I mean, it's like a lot of your success was basically on the back of Roethlisberger as far as having any chance of winning the title. And then other than that, dude, y'all just been struggling with quarterbacks left and right. Hell, even the Cowboys, they had some type of success with the quarterbacks. They may not be leading to a championship, but they was getting.
Hang on, what's success? With Dak Prescott? What's success?
No, I'm saying I'm saying they had some type of success. At least they having
what's some type of success? Dak hasn't won a playoff game.
No, y'all looking at that point. Y'all looking at that point. The Steelers
it's almost 10 years.
No, see, the Steelers quarterback situation is literally y'all not having nothing from the passing offense. It's literally the Cowboys have some type of passing threat. Now, only thing you can say about the Cowboys is they don't have playoff success, a lot of that. But Dak at one time was putting up MVP type numbers. Literally, if you're a receiver, going to play.
All right, I was rocking with you until you said that. No,
that's the thing. That's the thing.
He's a Cowboys.
Because every time I mention Dak Prescott is a trigger because y'all minds automatically going for playoffs. I'm not thinking about that.
No, I'm not even thinking about playoffs. Dak Prescott, most of his stats come in the fourth quarter when they're down by 14.
Yeah, but even with that,
that's like bragging about hitting Muhammad Ali with a haymaker when you already lost the first 4 rounds.
Y'all not listening to my point when it comes to Dak. Y'all not listening to my point when it comes to Dak. Receivers, when they go to the Steelers, they do not have any type of productive season ever since Roethlisberger left. Y'all already mentioned all these quarterbacks that came, so they come there. It's down there a graveyard for them. When they come to the Cowboys, at least they're going to get used. That's why CeeDee Lamb was able to get the contract that he got. They're going to get used. So Dak is not having this postseason success. But, okay, so perfect example right now. We're going to see how the numbers George Pickens is with the Cowboys with Dak as his quarterback. That's the type of success. At least they'll be involved in the offense.
Dak average about what, 70% of his wins? He win about 70%, don't he? That's good.
I'm just saying, look at and Pickens is not going to be considered receiver number 1 in Dallas. But look at Pickens' numbers at the end of this year compared to his time with the Steelers.
He gonna have 1,000 yards.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Steelers receivers go to the Pittsburgh, and it's a graveyard for them because they're not going to get any type of downfield passing game.
No, because they have their best stats with the Steelers. Deontay Johnson was a baller until he left, and then he didn't do anything since. So again, you can't say that they leave and they.
They're not at the level like at the Panthers or nothing. But I'm saying compared to a team that is known for their title history. And a lot of people brag about their current coach because he doesn't have a losing season.
Man, that's something
your quarterback. Now it's gonna be Rodgers may change that. But I'm saying though, when it comes to Dak, because I know Dak is a trigger word to many people out there if they're not a Cowboys fan. But I'm not even talking about as far as his playoff thing. I'm just talking about when Dak is a quarterback, same thing with Romo, at least the receivers are going to be heavily involved in the offense.
I can't believe this. I can't believe what I'm hearing here.
All this criticism
of Mike Tomlin with his playoff lack of success. Dak is just as guilty. But then you want to talk about regular season with Dak. I can't.
No, I'll put it like this. Since Roethlisberger, name a quarterback that the Steelers have had that even came close to producing the numbers that Dak has.
It doesn't matter, none. But I tell you what,
that's
all
what
the
I'm
quarterbacks I'll mention that came to the Steelers, I would even concede that they're probably worse than Dak, and still Mike Tomlin got them to the playoffs.
There you go.
So again,
okay, but Dak is a proven NFL quarterback. You think they would have more success if he had Dak up there?
If Pittsburgh had Dallas's offensive coordinators, it'll be about the same.
Well, that's a whole different. Yes,
but see, that's what I'm saying. See, Pittsburgh don't ever have no play callers for real.
Vanessa, I got two questions for you. So the first one being, one, because Rodgers is there. I mean, he had his press conference. He said he's definitely there because of Mike Tomlin. Are you of the ilk? First of all, your views on Tomlin. Do you think it's time that they need to move from? Are you part of the Yinzer crowd that says every year fire Mike Tomlin, or do you think that he deserves to stay? What's your views on Tomlin as a coach?
Yeah, as a coach, I think it kind of is time to change it. Like, if the bar you're setting is making the playoffs, that is a low bar to set. Like we get it. Like, okay, cool. You didn't have a losing season. That's like saying you've been married 15 years and didn't cheat on your wife. Good job, buddy. You did what you were supposed to do. You did the bare minimum of what you were supposed to do. Being a playoff team is the bare minimum of being a professional team.
Wow, that's great.
So I'm not that doesn't excite me, especially when you are the coach of a championship tenured team like the Steelers. Making the playoffs is just not good enough, realistically or not.
Gotcha. And my second question is on the previous draft. Would you have taken Shador if not with the first pick? Would you have drafted him later on? We had a lot of debate going back and forth over, Shador was overhyped, or that he should have certainly gone a lot sooner. What was your take on the whole Shador situation, and do you think the Steelers should have drafted him earlier?
My thought was that the Steelers should not have got rid of Justin Fields. We should have drafted a running back in the first round, and because Shador fell to the second round, we should have picked him up there. That was my thinking. Because Aaron, like Coach was saying, Aaron Rodgers, as old as he is, it doesn't make sense for him to be our quarterback. And Shador being able to sit behind a younger quarterback where he can relate to, for one, and for two, the offensive coordinator can relate to that age and that culture of quarterbacking and all of that. The coordinator can assimilate to that to make Shador a better quarterback, because I don't think he should have played in his rookie year if we did draft him in the second round. So I think that would have been the better scenario.
Gotcha. And for Scam, likely, shout out to Scam for being in the chat tonight. No, because I just found out tonight that Finesse was a Steelers fan, and we're talking about, obviously, in this block about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just wanted to get his perspective on the Shadors. So we're not going full-throated there. That was a very passionate topic a few weeks ago, that week after the draft. So, no, we're not visiting. But we thank you certainly for showing up tonight. And my man Mandrell's in the building tonight. Salute as well. All right, so we're moving to the last major block of the show. And this certainly, Shawnee brought this up as a topic. So, again, I've never understood quite how these work, okay? These person of the year commentary. So BET, whatever you want to say about BET. So they have these nominees, 2025 nominees for Sportswoman of the Year. And Angel Reese won it. And these were the candidates that were on the docket for the title. Shout out to Coco Gauff, who just won the French Open title. And so you have all these: Dawn Staley, Aja Wilson, Sha'Carri Richardson, gold medalist in the Olympics. Again, Juju Watkins, hopefully she gets well soon. Simone Biles, arguably the greatest gymnast of all time. Philea Johnson and Clarissa Shields from the boxing world. So you had these ladies here, but they chose Angel, and I think she's won this title, I think, more than once, if I recall. So again, so this is the question on the table. Again, was this fair? But like I said, I never understood. Go back in the day when Sports Illustrated, when I used to get the magazines, okay? So Sports Illustrated, they would always come out with Sportsman of the Year. I never even figured out then what goes into that process. How do you choose it? Is it based on that person's achievements or their community service? I never figured out how that worked. But certainly it seems like Angel Reese once again finds herself in the news. She's a good basketball player. I wouldn't say great. Clearly, Aja Wilson is certainly the best player in the WNBA by most persons' accounts. But it seems like Angel gets the headlines. It seems like every time her and the player played at Iowa, it seemed like they would get into it. It becomes front page news. But it just seems to me, shout out to Dante joining us tonight. So it seems like, she's once again in the headlines. Is she in the headlines for the right reasons, if there is such a thing, or is it just a popularity contest why they want to choose her as the Sportswoman of the Year? Again, I don't know the criteria of any of these awards, but certainly I want to get your take. And based on, if you didn't think she deserved the Sportswoman of the Year, who would you have picked? It could be someone off this list, but this is BET award. So Caitlin Clark, I don't think will qualify for this award. With that being said, your thoughts on this? She's not, but what's your thoughts on this this selection? And are we sending the right message here? With this choosing again? I don't know who chooses. Is this women choosing? I don't know what goes into this, but your thoughts. So I'll give this to Shawnee since you brought this up as the topic. And Dante, he had a lot to say about this also. I'll let you two lead this off, and we'll just follow up towards the end. So go ahead, either Dante or Sean, if you guys want to take this on and give your views on this voting.
Well, first, Dante mentioned it in the group chat. Reese has nearly 5 million followers on Instagram. That's basically why she won the award. This is strictly a popularity contest, especially with BET. It's not ESPN. No, they media. They obviously don't care about production on your respective fields. They just Reese is popular. Now, since it's 2025, I don't, it's kind of like a slow period. If I go down the names, Dawn Staley, she lost the title game. Okay, she may not be the highest one on the market on the board. Asia Wilson.
But hang on, but what's the year though? That's my question. What's the year?
It's 2025. This is for 2025. So I'm guessing.
Well, it's since the last. Well, it should be since the last award show. So if the last award show was in 2024, she was a champion in 24 and lost in 25.
Well, yeah. So you're looking at like the year. So after
I'm just looking at the calendar.
2024 and this recent one 25. That span, Staley, they didn't win their respective title. If now I don't know who won Woman of the Year, Sportswoman of the Year in 24. Now she should have been a potential winner in that one. I know Reese won multiple years. I forgot exactly what years. I think she won it last year too, if I'm not mistaken. So Simone Biles, when was the last the Olympics? What, 24? Summer of 24.
Right.
Yeah, last summer.
So if you look at that span, she may have not been fresh in the minds of people as far as now. I definitely would not complain if she would have won this award.
Angel Reese has won 3 years in a row.
Okay, so yeah.
Y'all know why, right? Let's be real.
Why?
She's the only one who's really a social media influencer.
And that's what
everybody
I'm saying.
else is living.
This is popularity contest because this is BET. This is not ESPN and whatnot, who may put more weight on your play and your respective field. This is BET. They look at popularity. Like I say, she has nearly 5 million followers on Instagram. Okay, that's the instant winner. Coco Gauff, she just now won the French Open. So this was
Yeah, but she's still the number 2 player. My thing is to show how bad it is, and it's not about sports. She's still the number 2 player in the world, or was highly ranked. I would say under the last form. So it's clearly just about popularity. And my main point was someone that hosted the BET Awards that's in the apparatus of the BET. I think hosted was Lotto. She was at her first game, and they've been seen a lot in Instagram lives. So in that space of the music space, entertainment space, it's done that. What I will say is she needs to remove herself from being known as the entertainer and make sure she's doing more winning. Now, some of that is obviously on her improving her game, but it's not her fault if this team is poorly constructed. Her team is poorly constructed, but if you're good enough, you'll rise above. But I'll say this about the WNBA, and it's unfortunate, since they have fewer teams, you don't have as much time. You literally have first-round picks that are getting cut after they get drafted. So she was a higher pick, but I'll say she might want to have the best offseason of her life.
She ain't gonna get cut. What are we talking about? She ain't gonna never get cut. What are you talking about? She'll never get, as long as she wants to play, she gonna play. They cut her. Guess what? Guess what? Sisters that look like her ain't gonna never watch WNBA. It ain't gonna and she gonna be more popular in social media because she's gonna go right to social media and say they didn't treat me right and they over-sexualized me, and she gonna blow up.
Yeah, but if we try to make the league take the next step, you have to focus on getting the criticism is a good thing. And I've seen women content creators that follow the W, and they said, hey, the good and the bad. Hey, we're getting more eyeballs. You want the check that the men get? They get a lot. If you look at that timeline of the NBA, they get a lot of criticism. And I think that's the key point that they're gonna have to look at it is you gotta deal with it. And it's just like BT it doesn't mean the most thing in the world, but it is a sign to me. Like trying to say 5 million followers. She won 3 years in a row. That's insane. That's insane for her to win. You can't tell me, especially with Asia Wilson is a multiple-time MVP, and I want to say the previous years had won the chip. Come on, man. Like that's because my thing is from a standpoint. Just as I have a daughter that's 5, so as a standpoint of playing basketball, I want my daughter to be like Asia Wilson. She just got a signature shoe which sold out. I couldn't even get her that shoe. Because that's and I think BT is missing the bug on that one, but I
don't
hadn't really
care.
paid attention for years. So that's the
BT
thing
don't
with
care.
sports wise. People, but the consciousness of the people that are watching, they have to know and kind of follow it, so they won't be like, "Oh, she won the award. She's not so great." She's the classic case right now. Great college athlete. But when you step up to the next level, hey, it's a big girl game over here.
Hold up, man. I don't understand.
And I'm a fan. And I'm a fan of Angel Reese.
No, listen,
I'm
but
a
I
fan
don't
of
understand. I don't understand. Listen, regardless of how unorthodox her game is, she's still one of the best big women in the league.
Look at her
Like
shooting
Shani
percentage.
said,
Look at her shoot. Look at her field goal percentage. And
listen,
it's rough.
it could be that. Listen, it could be that. There's players in the NBA making $60 million can't put the ball in the row. But for a woman, listen, Shani said it. The team is poorly constructed. It's poorly constructed, and a player just tore their ACL, one of the guards leaders. So if she can still average a double-double, that's I don't know. You've seen players in the NBA be on bad teams and put up big numbers. So she's in the same category as I would say a Charles Barkley in a sense, right? Listen. Hold on.
No. What big numbers is she
But
putting
listen,
up?
it's apples
She's a
to oranges.
double-double,
What
but
I'm
that's
saying,
not big
hold
numbers.
up. What I'm saying is, as far as what she does for the team, and they still not winning. They win, but they not getting to the. Charles Barkley did that for 14 years. Patrick Ewing did it all his career. They didn't win the big one. She's only in her second, third year. So, okay, so that's from a rookie to now, and we trying to say, I mean, come on, man. Listen,
I'm saying it from the standpoint is not being ruled against her, but the way the league is constructed, you only have so many players you can add in. So it gets to the point if I get another high pick and Juju Watkins is available, then everything shifts to, hey, Andrew, we like you, we're gonna bring you to camp, and then you might look up and then you get traded.
Yeah.
So it's
but if WNBA don't move around like that. They don't move you like that. They sort of loyal to the player. The player, and again, this is only a second year, is all I'm saying. Chicago needs to draft some picks coming out of college, whatever they do, get her some help, and she'll be okay. Her issue to me is her mind and her social media. She goes from playing basketball, then she's caught up in the off the court antics. And as far as that, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't shine a bright light on her being a face. She's on a damn what's that? She's on a cereal box. Have y'all seen it in Walmart on the cereal box? Okay,
I seen it on the cereal box. I seen it with the McDonald's meal.
So she has some.
I'm about getting your bag.
So she has some popularity, and now the age of social media, she's
but I'm saying, but the question is that what this is? Let's get finesse. Let's get finesse in here. I know he's been chopping at the bit here on this. So what's your thoughts on this voting?
I'm looking.
Go ahead.
I'm looking at this list, dog. This shit is everything that's being said right now is cute. All of it is cute. I'm looking at the list of the men. Jalen Hurts had to win the Super Bowl to get that fucking award. You telling me that all she had to do was catch 4 of her missed shots to get this fucking award?
Yeah,
what are we talking about right now, my G?
She's
what are we talking about right now, my G? I don't like this because you said you have a daughter. I have 3 daughters. I don't like this because this shows my daughters all they have to do is be cute and entertaining, and they can get awarded for their bullshit. You don't even have to be well at your career. I apologize. Let me calm down because now I apologize. This is taking away stuff like this. Takes away from people developing in their craft. You're not even fam. I don't want to disrespect her because she is in a professional league. I've never come close to being in a professional league, so I'm not going to disrespect her. But I will say that you are in a professional league with other professional players. And to be honest with you, mama, you're not even top of the league right now. You're a great rebounder because you miss a lot of shots, but you're not top of the league right now. You play for a horrible team. Your team doesn't do anything productive. You are not producing at a high. She plays for a horrible team, and she's not producing high enough on her team to circumvent the fact that she plays for a horrible team. If she was the LeBron of her trash team, then we would be having a different conversation. But she is a middle of the pack player on a middle of the pack team. That you can't do that. That is not okay, and it's not cool, especially when you got Olympic medalists on the list. When you got women that have won medals in the motherfucking list. Simone Biles, the most gold medaled Olympic medalist in the history of the Olympics, is not the sport. What are we talking about?
And we're not even looking at the other 2 years she won it. I don't know what them nominees were.
It was similar.
comeback
Aja
story
Wilson,
for Sha'Carri,
I just
too.
looked it up. Aja was on that list as well. Again, Sha'Carri Richardson won the gold medal in the Olympics last year. So yeah, it was Simone was on that list last year. Again, a lot of the same women were on that same list. Naomi Osaka was on that list in 2024, but I think she stepped away from the game a bit. But again, similar competitors, again, better players. So again, I don't get the criteria. And like I said, a lot of this sportsman of the year or man of the year, woman of the year, I don't even know what goes into that. I never figured out Sports Illustrated, and I don't understand this one. And especially Sports Illustrated, because again, that is a sporting magazine, and they still don't have the proper criteria to which everybody can follow. They just show up a golfer that you never heard of as sportsman of the year or something like that. So again, I don't get all this, but unfortunately, it is a popularity contest. It seems like at the end of the day, and as long as she's certainly an attractive woman, who I'm sure if the league could, they would want to make her the face of the league, just based on her looks, and quite frankly, she's heterosexual from what I understand. So again, those factors being there is I think what they're looking to push. But again, to Vanessa's point, her game does not warrant certainly all of these accolades. And it's like anything that goes down with her in the thing, any fight or scrap or whatever, it's like that's the story for the day. And then we got to deal with her in terms of how she's dealing with it mentally and all these other things and whatnot instead of the game. So honestly, it's almost making me almost like a turnoff. I can see certainly some of the rivalry coming out of LSU and Iowa, out of college. Okay, first year in the NBA, in the WNBA. Like I said, I think they should have shot that ad like they did with Bird and Magic back in 1986, where Magic shows up in the limousine in the cornfields and they play one-on-one. That would have been the perfect spot for them to take advantage of that rivalry coming out. But now it's just petty stuff that she's known for. And I have 3 daughters as well, certainly a bit older, but yeah, I'm feeling Vanessa on this one. It makes the women's sports, for all the fights they're trying to get to for equality, and I don't think this helps their cause when you're making these kind of selections. When there's more,
I look at it if she won 3 in a row. That's like if this was LeBron James and they named him 3 in a row, we're like, okay, we will understand that. Even given we looked at the nominees, we will understand that if it was LeBron. But with her winning, it's like, okay, you kind of however, like you saying, Mr. Ben, whatever y'all criteria is, but us, since we obviously follow sports, if you a media or whatever, that's a non-sports media, but if you say sportsman, we're gonna automatically assume that you are looking at these respective fields of play to come up with this award, and whoever wins this award. So, and going by your standard, this woman has won 3 consecutive years. You done put her in LeBron status. And we're like, man, what does she do?
So is it on her?
Like going to
it's not on her.
It's kind of like going to It's like going to CNN trying to get their opinion on album of the year. That's what happened. That's what just happened right now. Why anybody is talking to BET about sports is beyond me.
Now we know when people say stay in your lane, BET, y'all stick to music videos.
But she's part of that whole dynamic that they put.
And while we talking about Angel Reese, I saw Flau'jae Johnson name on that list. I'm like, okay, what did you do to get up there? But she's a rapper, so that perfectly fits BET. I'm like, Juju, she was a hot name in college, so I can understand she's not as accomplished, because like these names on this list, they could literally, if they retire today, will be in the Hall of Fame of their respective sport. Somehow you got a rapper, but I understand, because I guess you on BET it. But this lady won 3 consecutive years versus Hall of Fame talent.
Shawnee, they still are caught up and drunk from 2 years ago when she won the chip.
They're still drunk off of that. And my thing is, Falaje is like, she's a nice player and all for college, but I don't think she got drafted. I know she didn't enter her name in the draft. I think she's kind of, I don't know if she's focusing on music or she's transferring.
No, she's getting that NIL money, man. That's all. Why not? She was getting like 3 or 4 million a year. She was making bank.
I mean, look, like I said, I think if she was a better player, I think it would be a no-brainer. I mean, I think she's been in, I think the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, so I think they're trying to just take advantage of all of that. But, I agree with the black man here. Again, politics as usual. But, we're coming up towards the end of the show. Good topics. I think we covered a wide range of topics, and I'm glad Dante will certainly get in. So, as we start to look at final thoughts, I'll start this off, and then I'll bring in everybody else as we talk about that. So again, as you guys know, I'm a huge boxing fan, and once again, boxing took, I thought, a black eye this weekend. So you have a very talented upcoming prospect, Keyshawn Davis, had his card in Norfolk, Virginia, through Top Rank. And he was supposed to, came to the fight. Again, good card, sold out the building. The man came in 4 pounds over the limit for this fight. And they tried to do all kinds of measures to get the guy to fight him or what have you. I think they offered him a $250,000 bonus if he would fight him. But again, as we've seen in the past, he was like, well, look, I'm already getting $500,000 for doing nothing. So the guy pulls out the fight. So now he was supposed to be the A side of the card. And now that fight is off. So now he's got 2 brothers on the card. His, again, Top Rank. He's like he's supposed to be like the new face of boxing. So, he had 2 brothers on the card. One brother lost, one brother won. Now the brother who lost, they got into a skirmish in the back with the guy who beat him. Resulting in that guy getting injured. He had a contusion on his head because apparently Keyshawn headbutted him, and it was just a disaster. You had guys who had flown in. You had celebrities, Shaquille O'Neal, all those guys from that Virginia area, Michael Vick. All these guys were coming in to support him, and he didn't have the discipline enough to be ready for this fight. 2,000 people got their money back for the fight, which one of the brothers, again, went on social media and criticized the people for wanting their money back, for wanting to see him as the A side of the fight. So again, once again, boxing every time, again, and I love boxing. I think I'll always love boxing. I have a love-hate relationship with it, but I always love it. But every time boxing tries to take a step forward, it always, through some nonsense, always takes a step back. With fighters, we saw this last year with Ryan Garcia, that debacle with Devin Haney. Again, just black guys for the sport, and so I'm just hoping that you have some good fights coming up this year. I just hope these fights take place. I know everyone's looking forward to Canelo Alvarez fighting later in the year against Crawford. That'll be obviously the fight. I think everybody be as we get closer to that fight. Certainly we can have some preview shows and whatnot on it. But again, just another bad sign for boxing. And again, just the lack of humility, no apology, and just like, well, you guys, fakers, you guys didn't support us anyway. All this stuff, blaming the fans for wanting their money back. Again, just a bad look for boxing. Don't be surprised he doesn't get suspended, and don't get surprised he actually doesn't get sued by the promoters, including Top Rank and Bob Arum, because again of how he wasn't professional. He calls himself the businessman. He did bad business over the weekend, and this might set his career back to a point where I'm not sure if he can recover for it. Everyone deserves a second chance, but again, certainly not a good look. And again, another black eye for boxing. So that's my closing thought. We'll go over again. Once again, Finesse, I want to thank you for joining the show tonight. Certainly you're welcome up here. Anytime. Now I know I have a fellow Steelers fan to help fight off these Cowboy fans. So certainly I'm definitely looking forward to having you up here. But again, any final thoughts on any sports topic that we talked about tonight, any sports topics or themes that, that we didn't get to cover, but you have the floor just to give your final thoughts on anything on your mind.
2 quick things.
The first one, I think the biggest black eye to boxing is if you ask any young person, the most notable boxer outside of Floyd Mayweather is Jake Paul. So that needs to get fixed.
That's pretty
Secondly, to the young people out there, young men and women, please don't let this BET award bullshit trick you off of what's for real. This college deal and all of this is a prime example. Those followers that you got, all of that shit is cool, all of that shit is sweet. But if you don't produce inside of those lines, those awards is cool for TV, but you're not gonna get those NIL deals. You're not gonna get that 20.5. You're not gonna get that money if you're not trying to develop in between those lines. That social media shit, that streaming because you did a nice little workout with your trainer today. That shit cute. But y'all need to develop between them lines if y'all really trying to make something happen for yourself in this sports world. That's my final thought.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. Dante.
Well, since I was listening to y'all about the college football, and what I'll say about it is this. It's not going to really fix anything. As an HBCU alum, I don't know how. I'm still working, and I missed the live where I was going to talk to my guys like, hey, how well does this affect us? Because I know like there's some that are like the schools mentioned, the coach was mentioning like, hey, these are Division I FCS. I don't know how the funding money is going to go for FCS overall, period. So I'm trying to see how that's going to figure out. But what I will say is this, 100% they are going to say, hey, this is your NIL evaluation. And they're going to go through the clearinghouse. After that goes to the clearinghouse, we're going to go back to the days of the 80s and the 90s. The bag men are back. The bag men are going to come in and say, okay, your valuation is this. If you don't want to trick this guy to transfer, I need another $650K. And this is going to come and, hey, it's going to be delivered at this time, this point, straight cash, so it's off the books. These NIL collectives, like Texas Tech, they had a billionaire. That guy's a billionaire with their collective. They helped get that softball pitcher there with $1 million. They don't want to have that coming anymore to where it's so out in the open, but they have to say it's out in the open. This is semi-professional sports. There, you have basically a salary cap. Teams don't have to give the team the money, but what do you think? If the guys that make the sport run that the small schools can't get, the defensive tackles, the offensive line, the edge rushers, when that defensive tackle from Georgia says, hey, I want $850K, and if you don't give it to me, Clemson, guess what? Going over here to Georgia. I'm going over here to some SEC school like Texas. They literally went and they didn't get an offensive tackle, Michael Fasusi from I think from Louisville. He was a 5-star guy. They didn't get him. The next day, the recruitment was for a defensive tackle from Georgia. And everybody was there like, oh, he's going to Georgia. He's going to Georgia. Oh, he's going to Texas. Right after they mentioned it, Georgia guys were like, well, Texas just out money whipped them. They don't like that being said, but it's a part of the game now. It's going to continue to be a part of the game. But the contracts will help reduce some of the transferring. That's true. But the NCAA as we know it is basically cooked, man.
Ooh, yeah.
Indeed. Shawnee?
Mine is dealing with I was watching the women's softball because it was the All Texas Finals. And as I was watching, so the championship is best out of 3. So Dante brought up their pitcher that with their $1 million pitcher that I think she was committed to Stanford, I believe. And they coaxed her with $1 million to come to Tech. Well, she pitched lights out game 1, but she's a strikeout pitcher. So when they was asking her to do a pitch out, I was watching and I just saw the catcher. She was just standing straight up. Normally a pitch out, you make sure it's out the box. You don't even give the hitter a chance to even swing at it. But she was just standing straight up, and I was kind of confused. I was thinking, okay, is this a pitch out? Because they were looking like good pitches down the heart of the plate. And sure enough, it was like the Texas hitter. I don't know if she was kind of trying to make sure it was going to pitch out, but she waited three balls. It's like this woman's throwing it down the plate. And then she swung on that. She had a 3-1 count and still swung. And that led to the game-winning runs for Texas in game 1. So after game 1, then I saw Tech put Kennedy, the $1 million pitcher, back on the mound for game 2. I'm like, this is not baseball. Baseball, you don't, because she went over 6 innings in game 1. I'm like, okay, you don't put the pitcher right back on the mound immediately the next day on the mound. She pitched 7 innings in game 2, and they won game 2. And then game 3, Texas had they ace game 1. They did not put her out there in game 2, which I understood for Tech because game 2 now for them was an elimination game. But I was like, I wasn't expecting Canada to be back out there 2 consecutive days. Game 3 starts. Guess who they put back on the mound? I'm like, how? I don't care how good, because she was lights out as a pitcher, but I do not care how good you are as a pitcher. If you're going to put your pitcher on the mound 3 consecutive days, they going at least 6 innings versus a good team, obviously, because they made it a championship, they're going to pick you up. They're going to pick you up. They've seen your pitches now. And sure enough, Canada, she didn't even make it at the first inning. The first inning, she gave up 5 runs and a homer. 5 hits, 5 runs, a home run. So they blasted her. So it was like, I guess, because I'm so used to watching baseball, after a pitcher pitches their first game, you ain't going to see them again. They may come back in some, in some fashion in an elimination game. But 2-3 consecutive days, I'm like, and this was just a tip of the break, because apparently she was used even more to even get to the World Series finals. So I like Texas, they say, we giving you $1 billion and we're going to ride you to a championship with $1 million. But they came 1 game short, but it was just amazing that they was doing that, because I'm thinking, okay, y'all clearly don't care about this young lady's arm. Y'all keep throwing her out there on the mound, but hey, it's softball. I heard they pitching motion is a more natural motion. But I don't know, man. That was hella surprising to me.
I got you. Guys, we're going to go into a bonus round. First of all, I always end the show with Coach. So again, I'm going to hold off your final thought until the very end. We didn't talk about the NBA Finals, guys. We got to go back and revisit that. We got to run it. So this is we still got time. We're still going to have the show under 2 hours. But I want to go back and visit this. So obviously the game is going on right now. So again, Indy is up in a game, I think, by 5, 47-42. And game series is tied at 1-1. Let's talk about Tyrese Halliburton. Game 1, last shot, ice in his veins and whatnot. We were talking about the last show. Who's going to be the next superstar? Or is the superstar era over? Is he going to be that guy? We always SGA is being SGA, scored 71 points in the first 2 games. He's doing his thing. OKC still seems dominant. Even after game 2, they basically, in both of these games, they've led except for like 2 minutes. In both of these games, it seems like they've been dominant. But again, game 1, Indy was getting it from all over, 6 players in double figures. Everybody, I think, who got in the game and scored some points, so they get it from all over. They were getting it from all kinds of players. It's hard to isolate one guy because someone gets hot. Toppin got hot, 5 3-pointers in game 1. But when it came down to crunch time, Halliburton was like, "Give me the ball, and we going to check out. We gonna close this thing out." He's done it in every series. He closed out Cleveland. We saw he hit the big shot. Closed out the Knicks with the big shot. Now he's hitting the big shot again. Could he be the next guy?
No.
Yeah,
okay.
I say yeah.
I
say his star is already rising. Hold on. I didn't go last. I will go. I will tell you, his star is already rising. We see you called everything he done did this year. And y'all was like, oh, his star is rising. Going into next year, his hype is going to be right back where it was last year. His star is rising. So Indiana could be pretty good over the next 3 to 5 years if they re-sign everybody and get somebody good in the draft, because the team they have is solid. And all of them are, I would consider misfits, but they make it work. So that's a hell of a combination. I don't care who you're playing against, and we're seeing it play out. And he's leading them to that process. So salute to him, man.
Shawnee, your thoughts on we're going to go around. I'll finish up with Finesse. Shawnee, go next. with again thoughts on the series so far, what you're seeing, and especially in the game one. Very similar story again. They're up double digits late in the game, but Indy just keeps playing, and we saw how the game ended. So again, your thoughts on the series overall, your thoughts on Halliburton, and can he be the next guy?
Well, based on Halliburton, I mean, he's a good player, but he's literally just making his name now just because he is making these last-second shots. That's basically what he's known for right now. So, okay, he's living off the moment right now. But you saw in games, well, he made the last shot in game one. Game two, we was looking for him the first 3 quarters, and then he showed up in the fourth. So I know it looked like this superstar debate. We're not the only ones talking about it. I've been hearing it on TV all of a sudden, like the past couple of weeks, all of a sudden, like hot. And a lot of times it was relating to Halliburton. So the play of Halliburton this postseason has really just brought this superstar debate, just gave it a whole new life. But to me, and we spoke about it multiple times, to me, superstardom is your play on your respective court or field, plus visibility and the box office factor. People are not going to, if Halliburton right now, well, next season, when you look at the Pacers and that's the easy way to look at it. When the Pacers next season, because right now, Halliburton's name is hot. You know, he's talked about a lot. So look at how when the Pacers come to your respective city next year and see what type of attendance and people really talking about going to watch the Pacers play because of Halliburton. If they just treat it like any other game, that's your answer right there, because superstardom also includes visibility. And when people come and pay money at the turnstiles to come watch this particular player. And I don't believe Halliburton, because Halliburton right now is doing something no different than Robert Horry. Is Robert Horry?
So you put him in the Robert Horry category.
Well, he's no, because he's a better player than Horry, but literally people are not talking about Halliburton like he's been, like he really dominates the games. They talking about him right now because he's making these last-second shots. He's a clutch player. That was Robert Horry's career.
I would say this. Well, here's a big difference. Robert Horry would hide in that corner and hit that 3 at the end of the game. Halliburton is actually getting the ball on the other side 80 feet away and then taking it in, closing the game. There's a difference.
But
Robert Horry never created his own shot. He just
I'm mentioning like
put it in the corner. I'll be in the corner and I'll be ready when you give it to me.
Yeah, like the way they scoring. Yes, I'm talking about the way they made their name currently. Tyrese Halliburton, this is not the first year he's been a good player. He was a good player last year. I believe he would have gave your Celtics, the Pacers would have gave your Celtics a whole lot more hell if they had Halliburton that series. So I believe he's a good player. But right now, the reason why people are talking about Halliburton the way he is, because they was not talking about Halliburton in the regular season. They talking about him right now because he's consistently hitting these clutch shots. So that's why right now, that is why people all of a sudden thrusting him in this superstar debate. I'm saying, okay, if y'all doing that, y'all no longer, it's no different than what Robert Horry was doing. His name was made because he was hitting clutch shots. Because people acting like Halliburton just came on the scene. Halliburton has been a good player, but his name has never been as high as it is now, mainly because he's been hitting clutch shots. You saw that in game 2. This dude was a disappearing act the first 3 quarters. He came and scored like over 10 points in the fourth quarter. It was too late. But he was kind of similar in game 1. He was kind of like mediocre, and also he had that strong fourth quarter. So it's not. That's why I can't put him as a superstar, because not like he goes out there and a consistent threat the whole game. He's just right now he's known because of how he is playing in the clutch moments. And I guess if the Pacers continue to find themselves down 14, 15 points every fourth quarter and think they're going to win every game like that, I mean, I don't know. They possibly can. This game right now is the closest they've been the whole series, because OKC has shown to be the better team the first 2 games.
Yeah, they're up now. They're up now.
Yeah, so
let's get guys again. We got a few minutes left. Let's get to Dante and then get to Finesse and then turn it back over to Coach. Again, Dante, your impressions on game 1, your impressions on the series overall, and again, the Halliburton conversation as far as star, superstar, So I'm hearing the extreme: superstar or Robert Horry. To me, those are two. That's a chasm.
I'm like this.
That's
Johnny,
a chasm there that I don't know if they can be bridged, bro. So
Johnny,
I'm just saying.
Johnny, you my boy.
You gotta meet in the middle
Most
here
takes
somewhere.
I'm with you. Johnny, most takes I'm with you. But when you said to Robert Horry, all I can think about is this man has been all NBA. And that's my thing with people that want to put Robert Horry in the Hall of Fame. And he helped my team win championships. But if you put him towards the Hall of Fame, I will never give any validity to it again. And that's just another topic. But what I will say is this. Halliburton, give him time to rise to it. It don't have to be it's another topic. None of these guys that we're saying as far as superstar, and I've seen this on other podcasts, like they don't have enough cool factor. Like, because they are put into these programs, and as soon as they're good, they're putting them and they're making box cookie cut players for basketball, and that's another topic. But he made the conference finals last year, made the finals this year. Let his star rise before we start saying if he's box office. My thing is he's for damn sure clutch, and he's one of the true point guards. So whether you got the ball, he's taking the shot, or he's going to make the right pass, you want the ball in his hands at the end of the game. You can make a career off of being clutch like that. So I say just let it grow. Let's see what it is. Because sometimes Siakam, like he won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and I do love that he made that shot at the end of the game. I was just like, when I saw them miss that free throw, I was like, yeah, they cooked. And then they didn't call the timeout, and it was just like, now we're gonna come in, and then bang, he made the shot, and I was just like, yeah, they in trouble. They stole game one, similar like they stole game one against the Knicks. It's just that they're playing a better team now, and I'm liking the way the series went with game one. I just would like some more. I don't want 6 games of blowouts or 7 games and it's blowouts alternating. I want some competitive games. Hopefully, even if it comes back late, I'll take that if you keep each into the game. But I'm liking where it's going. Like I told people, man, the Pacers are a good team. They play a fun style of ball. It wasn't going to be just OKC, just dog walking them. Aside from what happened in game 2.
Gotcha. Finesse. So where are we? Superstar or Robert Horry?
What's crazy is as he was sitting here talking, I'm watching this game, and I want to talk shit, but he playing well right now. I want to talk shit, but he playing well. No, honestly, I think I think he's just not. Maybe we do need to give him more time, because what I don't want to have happen is he have a light-skinned Linsanity moment where he's hot this year and then you never hear about him again. Like I don't want to give him that credit yet. Like. And then also considering like SGA is, when you watch him play, just watching him play, it looks better. It looks more basketball poetic like. Like I enjoy watching SGA, come up to the midcourt, turn around, hit the, just the way he plays. I like the way it looks aesthetically. In terms of like superstar in the league, SGA and Anthony Baby Daddy Davis is really the best chance that they got right now in terms of cool factor. Like Dante was just saying, like in terms of like cool factor and who has the eye of the league, it's really those two right now. Halliburton, I don't think he is a bad player. It's just, again, he's not closing the game scoring 45. He didn't score 45 and hit the last minute shot. You know what I'm saying? He's hitting the last minute shot and he only scored 16 points the entire game. So it kind of makes it hard to say he's a superstar when you're not. You can't just close the game. That I see why you get the Robert Horry comparison, because Robert Horry don't do shit at all throughout the game. But that last 3 minutes in that fourth quarter or throughout that entire overtime, that man is on fire. Every time he touches the ball, he's on fire. So until Halliburton can become more impactful throughout the entire game, it's not going to make a difference for him until he can become more impactful for the entire game. Is basically what
Gotcha. Listen, I'm kind of playing with this a little bit. I'm not going to give him the superstar tag either. I certainly think he could be a face of the league. I mean, you guys heard this guy's interviewed. You already know what his next career is going to be. He's got NBA analysts like written on him already, like Reggie Miller is doing right now. So again, he has, he hasn't seemed like a personality, at least when he's on camera. He's playing well in this series. his game can certainly elevate. He could certainly be a face in the league. Whether or not he gets the superstar status, again, we still have to see. But again, playing well. 25 seconds left in the second, in the first half. 62-60 OKC. So again, Dante, you're getting your wish. You're getting competitive ball right now. No blowout so far. And but I think Indiana definitely needs this game because I think everybody picked OKC to win. And the difference was this going to be, was this game going to go 5 or was it going to go 7? And I think Indiana needs to win at 6 or 64-60 at the half. And I think Indiana definitely needs this game. And I think if they get this game, it'll go 7. Now, again, who wins? That's going to be that's going to be certainly a debate. You will have plenty of time to talk about that in the next show. But with that, but I've certainly been impressed just with the and also one thing I didn't mention as well. And again, I got to get on Black Man for this because he was talking about nobody was going to watch this series. And this ratings came out. It did better than last year's series. So again, people are tuning in. I think, people are looking at SGA for the first time, looking at Halliburton for the first time, looking at this team ball, because again, you have multiple players involved, deep benches, competitive basketball. And I think that, I think this series will overall do very well in the ratings. But again, that was the period of time that nobody would watch. So, okay. So someone just called who came in. BMU, that's you.
Yeah, listen, man. Listen. Good evening to all. Listen, I want to address that, Mr. Bennett. People are bored and they don't have nothing to do. So they just turn on the TV and they need something to fall asleep to. So they watch the finals. And I want to say this. Halliburton.
First of all, I don't want to hang on. I don't want to disrespect Antoine. They could be watching the NHL finals right now. Panthers are up 2-1 in the series. Game 4 is tomorrow night. So shout out to Anton. He's the resident hockey fan. I wanted to give him some love tonight. So go ahead.
And there's no difference between the two. They're both on the same level right now. So listen, let me say this. Okay. When it comes to Halliburton, he's not a superstar. You know how if, say, for instance, all of us went to Miami and then there were 1, 2, 3, there was 6 fine girls, that was 5 fine girls, but 1 ugly one, right? All the fine ones gone, and you're forced, because you're the last guy, you're forced to entertain the ugly girl. This is what's happening in the finals right now with Halliburton. Because
Halliburton's the ugly girl?
Halliburton's the ugly girl.
Listen, wait a minute. So he was Robert Horry. Now he's the ugly girl?
Let me tell you why he's the ugly girl. Because when the season starts back up, you're not going to hear Halliburton's name. Yeah, you're not going to hear Halliburton's name when the season starts back. You're going to hear the Curry and you're going to hear Luka. You're going to hear Joker. You're going to hear all the superstars are coming back, and they're going to drown him out.
No, BMU.
They're going to drown him out. I promise you. Hey, listen, when the season starts back, there's nobody going to be calling Halliburton's name. Nobody.
Listen, next season, his name will be in the top.
Even if they win the finals. Hang on. Exactly. If they win the finals, and he's finals MVP.
Okay. Well, Mr. Ben, let me take you back. You remember when Ray Lewis then won the Super Bowl? Who was the quarterback?
Trent Dilfer.
Oh, but they had a couple.
Anybody talk about Trent Dilfer after he won the Super Bowl?
But that's two different sports.
He's Trent Dilfer. He's Robert Horry.
Okay. Ain't nobody talked about Trent Dilfer after he won the Super Bowl.
That boy name fade today, dog. We don't put some soil on the top of his name.
I don't understand. Now I don't understand where all this Halliburton hate came from. I mean, we call him every ugly name in the book tonight. I don't get it.
And then I want to address one more thing that I'm gonna leave.
Don't forget Lynn Stanley. And
then the Angel Reese situation. The reason Angel Reese is so popular because she got one of the top, right, for women. The one of the top podcasts on YouTube. She's a super socialite. When she goes to a game, she coming in that thing bad. She coming in there. Mr. Bennett said it earlier. She's an attractive woman. She coming in with her leopard skin pants on. No, I'm gonna say what y'all scared to say. She coming in there with them leopard skin pants on, no drawers, throwing that thing left to right. She going to games with Daisy Dukes on with the top button unbuttoned. She's bringing heterosexual back to the WNBA. Ooh. And men are wanting to watch her walk down that thing. Now, Caitlin Clark, again, I'm gonna say the things that you guys are not gonna say. Caitlin Clark is still built like she's 10 years old. And so Caitlin Clark is not going to have that type of effect, their sexual presence like Reese. You know, when Juju get in there, she's going to be the same thing. She's going to be a tall drink of water that everybody going to want to watch run up and down that court. But the rest of the women, they look like deacons at a Baptist church in Louisiana on a Sunday morning. They're all lesbians.
Simone Biles is fine.
Huh?
Simone Biles
Who?
ain't fine. Simone
Who
Biles?
is who?
Simone Biles.
Oh,
Come on,
Simone.
man.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, I wasn't talking about WNBA. Simone Biles. You know. I mean,
No,
that's
we're talking about the BET Sports Woman of the Year. So she was on
okay.
that list.
So yeah, you're right. Simone Biles. You're right. Simone Biles. When she, you know, she
Coco
can
ain't too
turn.
bad looking either.
She wasn't on that list of athletes. She wasn't even in the top 10 of that list.
Who wasn't?
Angel Reese was not.
But Coach Furr, you have to understand where we're going now. We have to go.
No,
We're
but
going
I
into
said that, yeah.
We're going
Yeah,
to
that's what I'm saying.
popularity over skill
Yeah.
set. So she can miss 100 shots, and her face is still going to be on that list because of her popularity. All the men want her, and all the women want to be her. And when you have that type of power, then you just going to be on those lists. She can have
Social media.
2 rebounds. She going to be up there.
Yeah, social media. Yeah, you made a great point. We talked about it earlier. Social media. That's why that's who votes her in, because it ain't nobody in the sports.
Yep. But I'm out, man. Y'all had a good show, man. I appreciate y'all, brother.
Appreciate you always. Thanks for the platform. All right, Coach. Yep. So we are at the end of the show. So, Coach, your final thoughts as always, and close us out, sir.
Hey man, first of all, I just want to say great show, man. Appreciate you coming up, brother. Finesse, man. Shawnee, man. Salute to Texas, man, because you brought Texas in this picture 4 times today. But no, man, you listen, man. This is Men's Health Month, man. You know, we talk about other athletes and people out there getting exercise, man. Let's take time to get some exercise for ourselves, man, and our family, get our kids outside. Summer, starting in a few days, a week or 2, man. Get everybody outside, man. Start living life, man, and, get our health together so we can talk about these athletes well into everybody on the panel's gray hairs. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, salute, man. It's a nice day, man. Get outside.
You know it. Well, again, we certainly want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Certainly, we ask as you leave, make sure you hit the like button, and certainly be sure to share the content, and stay tuned for tomorrow. This show more than likely will be replaying tomorrow morning. So if you didn't get a chance to see us, watch for us tomorrow morning. Watch for the shorts that are certainly cut up from this show, and certainly looking forward to next week. Continue to follow those NBA playoffs and all the world of sports. But again, for myself, Mr. Bennett, for Dante, Shawnee, the coach, and Finesse Visions. Again, thank you once again for being with us tonight, bro. Again, welcome back anytime, and love chopping it up with a Steeler and Celtic fan. I get 2 for 2, so I'm
gross.
with that. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of this game. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time. Good night.